brother. It will all become apparent very shortly. Thanks to all of you for coming on this very festive occasion. We'll get the usual internet speeches out of the way very quickly, Mike. I'm sure everyone would agree Louise looks absolutely magnificent today. The wee fellow sitting next to her, he scrubbed up very well. It's now my duty and privilege, almost finished, Mike, to tell you about some of the achievements and good deeds of my daughter, which she's done in the past, and I'm sure Andy's family will already know what a great character and personality that Louise has. Taking after her father, of course, Stephen Croft. Well,
okay, now stop it.
I've been asked many times about the DNA test, but we'll get back to it.
We can agree on the biological mother, thank God.
Louise was...
I definitely gave up.
I was there, but I shouldn't have been. Louise was born in Chertsey 31 years ago, almost to the day and 1 week. I've only just found out Andy's age, and I'm just finding out. She arrived 10 weeks early, which was a bit of a nuisance, but... and she only weighed 3 pounds 3 ounces. They say good things come in small packages. It's like being at a panto, isn't it?
Oh, no, it isn't! That's lucky for us.
They don't come much smaller. Except Andy, of course. On that note, I just happened to have my first prop in the bag here. This is Louise's first cuddly toy, which was actually bigger than Louise. Excuse the shoelaces. Growing up, she enjoyed playing with her beloved pink bear, Tatty. She made new friends at Round Hill School. She always found it easy to make friends at the pit. She's a caring, sweet and outgoing individual. How am I doing, Lou?
He's building you up for a fall, what it was.
Louise, of course, didn't always like Round Hill. One day, she and a friend actually decided to pick up sticks and go AWOL. She had a number of us running around Beeskin beside ourselves, searching for the two of them. But her Uncle Barry over there eventually found her and a friend in a playground about a mile away. Louise had been told off for dancing on a desk and didn't want Mum and Dad to know. She went on to Alderman White School to complete her O-levels and became head girl, which made Gail and myself very, very proud indeed. Paul Smith actually also went to Alderman White School, but unlike her mother, so my brother-in-law over there, I can't afford Paul Smith. I'm lost. Anyway, time for more props. You heard me mention Tatty. She's been bugging me for weeks to bring her along for this special occasion. She did go to Louise to my brother's wedding as a bridesmaid with Louise many years ago. Well, surprise, surprise. Here she is with you today, Tatty the bride. And she's even had a dressmaid. Tatty the bride, everybody. We're in serious, yeah? All through her life, Louise has been fortunate enough to travel. But, sadly, not always wanting to. I remember a few occasions when we get to an airport, either here or there, when she was younger, and we almost left her because she was always saying, I don't want to fly, I don't want to fly. Fortunately, her mother was very patient. Louise also hated insects, particularly spiders and flies. She got stung by a bee in Canada. Before putting her tights on one morning, yelled to her mother before going to school, "My tights are buzzing!" And inside one of her tights was a wasp. If it was creeping and it was crawling, Louise would always find it. I do remember with great fondness taking Louise to Philadelphia, got to get Philadelphia in something, and New York just before her 18th birthday as a reward for doing so well in her GCSEs, just father and daughter, because I thought we don't want mum, because we don't have any funding mum. We did all the usual tourist stuff, horse-drawn carriage around Central Park, that's all right guys. A city tour, a visit to the top of the Empire State Building, and we actually went to the top of the World Trade Center. And there we are, father and daughter at the top of the World Trade Center. We can all come and have a look at these later. Memories last a lifetime. Well, we
I've
missed
got
a
one
bit.
to edge. I'm doing a good job here.
Whilst preparing this speech, I started getting a little sentimental, as you do with these things. Because Louise didn't want to speak, and then after her sister's wedding not so long ago, where I had to go through this all over again, Louise said, "I want to speak." Having taken 2 years to write the lesson. So I decided to go out some old photo albums. And I don't know, tears brought up. And as I looked through these photo albums, we had this one of Louise. We had this one of Louise. For those of you who can't read the back, it says, "Am I cute or what?" She's never been one for not telling you what she thinks. We had this one of Louise. Always a book reader.
I can't watch this doing.
But one picture stood out from all the rest. It was a striking photo of my precious Louise as she lay there on her white fur rug, which she used to have in her bedroom.
I did tell him to carry on at this point.
Dribbling and looking at the camera lens. And as she tried to stand up, she'll never forget her 18th birthday. Louise then left Beeston. You all heard about Beeston in the pantomime last night. It's a wonderful suburb of Nottingham. We must have 20 charity shops. And she went off to spend 8 years in Birmingham. Why she picked Birmingham, God only knows. And studied at the University of Birmingham. When Louise finished her education, she had more qualifications and certificates than she knew what to do with. GCSE, O-Ray-Me, PhD, you name it, she seemed to have it. At this point in her life, she decided she'd had enough with her new job in Oxfordshire and Birmingham. And we can blame her. I don't know doing that, Birmingham's lovely. I hear there's 2 or 3 people from Birmingham. My man over there is...
Only one.
And she decided to try her hand in the big wide world and moved to New Mexico, no less. Always a place I'm sure she dreamed of, growing up in Eastern. Louise was always a bookworm, as you saw in one of those pictures. A dancer, a singer, a pianist. So why choose to be, I was going to say geek, a nuclear engineer? However, she couldn't leave the black country behind for too long, and Louise started a long-distance relationship with the dwarf on my right. Husband Andy. After a short period of time, she became more alive. She was constantly happy and had a radiant glow around her whenever she talked in. We saw this, she said. From a few weeks into the relationship, the mother of one being in Preston and the other being in Los Alamos. I guess the best way to deal with that was for Andy to apply for a job in the USA. She was always trying to better herself at university. I might be going back again myself here, but at work and in her own life, and she's now doing very well in her job. And when she's not at work, she sits for hour upon hour scrolling through Pinterest.
Yes.
Very Pinterest. She's also obviously in love with not just Andy, but also the deep south in Knoxville. Knoxville, Tennessee, Dolly Parton comes from there. Near neighbour, these two. They've thought about renaming their home from the Southern Dollhouse. I know there's a few of us in the room that have been there, to Laurelwood. Both of them keep reminding us that it's great what should be a Tennessee Vol. I'm not going to sing now because talking to people around the room as you came out, when we went down, it's sort of kind of funny that when you stay in there and you're walking around Knoxville, everybody's singing, hey, Rocky Top, Tennessee, way. They all wear orange. Andy wears T's on both cheeks.
Go on, Philip.
Well, you did come out, you know, you got these two T's on it. What's the T stand for, Andy? My husband, I first met Andy a couple of years ago. And I've always been protective over my daughter. She didn't know that, but I thought nobody was good enough for her. But Andy soon changed my views on that. I thought, no, you're not. But as I got to know him, he is a good man. He's a hard worker. He spends most of his day when he's at the lab on Facebook. He's a bandit on the golf course. We went to Knoxville recently, and we had a game of golf, and I was just warming up, and then we went again to the golf course. And for those of you who play golf, we played Stableford, and if you play the handicap, you get 36 points. Andy got 48 points. And I played out of my skin, and I got 46 points, and I still couldn't beat him. He also makes her extremely happy, and as we all see today, and after saying this, what more can a father ask for his daughter than to be a Tennessee Vol? Sorry. I'm happy to welcome Andy, Tim and Pat, and the rest of the family. We had a good function last Saturday. It was great to meet most people for the first time, and a lot of us got on very well. Sean and Mike, more than others. Before Lucy dragged Sean out.
You drank a few shots
I welcome you all with warmly open arms. I can drink some red wine in a minute. I would also add that after doing background checks on Andy for the last 2 years, I managed to find nothing on him.
I didn't tell Andrew.
A wedding is a time for joy and fun, with friends and family gather to see a happy couple off as they start their new life, but it's also a time too when our thoughts inevitably turn to loved ones that all of us have lost over the years. So can we raise a glass to absent friends, please? Absent friends. Anyway, when I first got up today, I thought this is like a carry-on film, really. Doctor in the house. There's probably more doctors here in the room than the short number of people I've seen for a long time. And before I finish to pass on to other people, it made me think of our old friend up in the skies, Tommy Cooper. And I went to the doctors. I went to the doctors, and I said to the doctor, can you give me something for my liver? And he gave me half a pound of onions. I raised my glass to my daughter on her wedding day. It's hard to find the right words to express the depths of my feelings on these, but you know I love you. She was a perfect daughter. You spelled perfect wrong, Louise. And I'm sure she'll make a fine wife, Andrew. and gentlemen, the toast. Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, could you join me in wishing Louise and Andy all the best in their marriage, and may we hope that the love and happiness they share now will carry on for the rest of their lives. The bride and groom. Before I sit down, I know my speech was rather short, but the maid of honour, Lucy, would like to say a few words, and if you'd be kind enough to let her, can we get permission?
Do you mind?
Yes, it is.
Okay, for all of you, I think you know who I am, so I won't trick you away. I've decided to do it the American way today and surprise a happy couple with a making of honour speech/poem. There comes a time in a person's life when they meet their one true love, their soulmate, the person they're going to love and cherish for the rest of their life. For Lou, this would be almost 27 years ago when, of course, she met me. But joking aside, we see before us today a sister who, although rather little, has a huge heart. Her generosity and caring nature makes me miss her so much. Oh, we're don't cry, really. As Dad has said, and I definitely agree, she looks so beautiful today as bride. Andy, you've got it lucky here, brother, and I can see that you're gleaming from ear to ear with pride. So, growing up as sisters with long frizzy hair, she wanted to be everything from Sandy in Greece through to an astronaut. I know, it's a contrast, isn't it? Lou was my idol, the one I looked up to. I even followed her around so much, to Mum and Dad's delight, I even followed her to the loo. Trips to Disney year in, year out, I continued to dream of being a princess, whilst instead, Lou became the bright star. Flying through her exams and choosing a much wiser career by far. Sorry, not many people know. Which led her to Andy along the way. Tall, dark, handsome, woman keeping tall and gay. It was love at first sight for this pair, jet setting the world to see each other, as I'm sure you're aware. Andy, you're like a brother to me. Luckily, your love for red wine helps you fit into our family. But seriously, don't mess with my sister and be bad, otherwise you'll have me to deal with and not just my dad. Lou, you have always been not just a sister, but a friend for life. I promise to be there through those highs and those little lows, and I can honestly say my love for you goes from my head down to my toes. So, as some of you know, I can talk here for hours, but today, Lou and Andy, you hold that power. So on a serious note, please first raise your glass for those who haven't lived so far away, we all know to be here today. Where's mine? That's mine. Go and drink. As Nan did say, have a beautiful life. Andy, I know you will certainly look after your now life. To end this poem, I want to say, I love you. I love you. That's all. That's fine. To end this poem, I want to say, I wish you the very best, a world of love and happiness, smiles, dreams and laughter, and of course a happily ever after. Today is a day you'll remember for the rest of your life, so cherish this moment and the whole of tonight. So finally, please raise your glass for the new Mr. and Mrs., sending you all our love, hugs and kisses. Now let's put on our dancing shoes, we've got no time to lose. They'll have the first dance and plenty more food. To the group.
Sunday.
I think it's awake.
I'm crying again, Jeff.
I'll get my glasses ready. For those of you who don't know, I've just recently started wearing glasses, so if I reach for, it's not a prop, it's actually I can't see a bloody thing. Hopefully we'll be alright. Oh, good grief. Well, I didn't think I'd be doing this again. So, Dear family and friends, unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, what I'd like to do is, in fact, I really had no idea how to start this speech or what to say. So, like all good geeks, I trawled the internet. And so while my wife, Louise, finished off our Christmas shopping and her bridal shopping as well, I sat in Starbucks. And after a couple of hours, I found some very useful stuff, great stuff on the internet. But then I realised I was supposed to be writing a speech, so that kind of screwed that up. So I ended up knocking this together on the flight over from Manchester. And so please note that the nearest emergency exits are at the back. There is no smoking allowed on this flight. That's Delta, not Michelle. So my speech today will be like a miniskirt. Long enough to cover all the essentials, but short enough to hold your attention. Actually, that was stolen from the internet, but it's the cleanest I could actually find as my introduction. Actually, I even thought about asking Abby for a few jokes. But for those of you who do know Abby, her jokes are absolutely filthy. So... So I didn't go down that route, so thank you Abby for volunteering. So first of all, we'd like to thank Greg for his kind words and good wishes. Thank you, Greg, very much appreciate it. Welcome to family and friends and so on. And of course, I'd like to thank him for letting me take Louise off his hands. I mean, for letting me take her hand in marriage. I'd also like personally to thank him for agreeing to pay for this lovely reception. I thought he said, oh, I'm only joking. It turns out they didn't accept British Airways. So, no, we're just kidding. So it's lovely to see so many family and friends and everybody here today. To help us celebrate our happiest day of our lives, and I truly mean that, I've had such a special day for you all being here and sharing this. It's really been incredible. I know that some of you travelled obviously a long way, some as far as Beeston and the West Midlands. But seriously, some people actually have to travel here using their passports. Lucy and Sean from Wales, for example. But generally, both of us would really like to thank all of you for coming, but there are some special people who travelled an awful long way from the US, and Stephen and Jack and Croft, and Arthur and Karen in Germany, travelling all that way, so thank you very much for this. It really would not be the same without you all here. It'd be a damn sight cheaper, but it wouldn't be the same. So, unfortunately, it's not possible to have...
Barry!
That's not too many, sorry. Unfortunately, it's not been possible to have everyone we love here with us today, of course. But we know they're here with us in spirit, and not only in our thoughts, but of course in our hearts. And the special words you may have noticed in the back of the programme, Lucy alluded to them, so again, very special words in our hearts. So with that in mind, would you please all stand and raise your glasses for absent family and friends. So, talking of family and so on and travel, I'd like to take this opportunity really to thank both Louise and I, would thank everybody who's travelled during this year to visit us. It's been so fantastic to have everybody there.
Thanks, Potsy.
And to see you all, see you all in there, see you all there? To see you all there and sharing that new home and it meant a great deal to us, so thank you for that. To spend some quality time with you, people, for both of us to get to know each other's side of the family a bit more in our own home is really special, really important. And despite actually getting to know both sides of the family, we still decided to go ahead with the wedding. It actually speaks volumes. And the Worrell Bed and Breakfast does continue to have vacancies through 2014. So please,
that's the USA.
So please don't be strangers, it is genuine. I know people say, oh, come and visit, but it's a genuine offer. Please do come and visit, we'd love to see you there. And speaking of golf, speaking of, I'd like to thank Greg and Gail for welcoming me into their family and making me feel so welcome. It's great to spend time with El Bandito Grego here on the golf course. And I didn't realise that Tennessee was quite so close to the Mexican border. But I should have realised something was up when he replaced his golf cap with a sombrero and tied a donkey to the car. And also it was really lovely to see how Gail embraced American football. I thought that the day when, for people who don't know the story, we went to the first Tennessee Bowls game. You saw the reference to Tennessee Bowls earlier with the Rocky Top. And we went to the first game of the season with Greg and Gale. And it was about 100 degrees Fahrenheit, so what's that, 35, 40 degrees C, so it was bloody hot. And it's probably 95% humidity, 96,000 I think was in the stadium. And this is for a college football game, for those of you who don't know. It's not a professional game, it's a college football game. And we sat there in this baking heat, and right up in the gods of the stadium, in the baking heat. I think we sat there for, what, 4 hours or something? It was just incredibly... Sitting on a piece of 4x2 timber...
I thought it was 2 weeks.
And I think it's a true testament to resilience in life. And I'm not talking about marriage cigarette.
It would have helped that day, I lost my Ray-Bans on the way to
So it turns out she didn't actually think that much more of the game when you got back home and watched it on the TV either, so perhaps it wasn't the occasion, it was just a game overall. But seriously, thank you again for welcoming me into the family and allowing me to marry an incredible daughter. She is so special to me, and clearly her intellect, her beauty, and her wit she gets from you, Gail. And Greg, thank you for setting such a high standard in game for it, quite seriously. And of course the travel she's become accustomed to. But quite seriously, she's set a very high standard for her in men, so hopefully I'll live up to that for you. So, despite me despite me wittering on with this speech, my dad, on the other hand, is generally a man of few words. But when he does say something, for those of you who do know, it's usually something very, very sarky, very, very witty, and I've been told that I picked up some of his one-liners off him, as Louise keeps reminding me, you're more like your bloody father every day. But in fact, my dad has actually given me a couple of gems of advice in life over the years that he probably doesn't actually appreciate. And first of all, I'd like very much to share them with you, because I think they're testimony to a way we can live our lives. First of all, once you have a car, you'll have no bloody money. That's really quite true. It's also true in marriage, apparently, because that's the only thing. But he didn't actually mention Harley Davidson, so I went out for Harley just to offset that. Actually, I think she'll be fine on that. And then the other thing as well, he says, is it's very interesting. You never see fat people eating fruit. It's a very sarky comment. It's quite deep, and what he's actually trying to tell you is quite profound. It really means if you eat fruit instead of burgers, and you won't be one of those fat people. I think that's what he meant. Anyway, and finally, another classic gem is from my mum. We speak probably once a week, or not as often as we like, I'm sure, but probably once a week on the phone. And usually I'm expressing kind of difficulties at work, frustrations with life and so on. And then I'll say those terrible things, or this is too hard, whatever. She'll then say, oh well, never mind. And you know what? You know what's really funny? She's actually right. It will be alright. Because I'm standing here, I'm the luckiest man in the world marrying Louise, and it's like, everything will be alright. So, give it another day or two, and it's really quite profound. So, anyway, where was I? I think you should follow this, take note. So, we both know that in many ways it's not ideal that we live so far away from all our loved ones. It's very difficult.
Hey, wait a minute.
The majority of and our families in particular, it's always very difficult, to try and get time, spend quality time with them. But it's only with their support and understanding, both now and over the years, that we've been able to, we've been able to accomplish all that we have.
Come on, pull yourself together.
So it's really with only to accomplish all that we have and live our dreams, both professionally and personally. It's testament to their support, and so thank you for that. And for those people who've never read a very short book, the book that Louise gave me a couple of years ago, it's called The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch. If you've never read it, I recommend you would read it. He was a guy who wrote a speech. He was a university lecturer, and you were asked to write, if you were to say your last speech, what would you say? And this guy, it was a very high honour to be given this